This on again, and it's still a favorite in your wardrobe.
A fashion brand, that's difficult, I would imagine, of course. Claire, you're the founder of the fashion brand CJ London. What is CJ London?
Well, the name CJ London comes from my own name, which is Claire Julia, and because I'm from London originally, I just felt living in Denmark, in Copenhagen, which I feel is very much my home, but my roots are definitely, I'm a London girl. And I felt that the brand, in a way, it started off my whole experience of working in London, the whole sort of business suits, but I wanted to make it more a relaxed sort of business suit. How could you go from the office out to a night on the town and have clothes that wouldn't crease, that you could throw in the washing machine. You'd never have to go to the dry cleaners. And that was how I sort of came up with the whole idea of CJ London.
How come you created a fashion brand? I mean, I'm curious to know.
Yeah, well, it's a good question. I think it really did come from, I have an acting background and then I have a corporate background. And those two are very opposite. And the corporate background, especially working in banking and finance, which is what I did for many years, it was a little bit conservative, to say the least, especially in London, going back some years. And I struggled with finding an outfit that I could have on during the day, but again, when I was going off out in the evening, that I could also then feel relaxed, and maybe if I was going off to a party or just somewhere where I could feel a little bit more glamorous. So I sort of developed the whole concept from that, and I felt like I wanted a capsular wardrobe, something where I could put it into a suitcase, or in my case, I created this tote bag where I often joke that you can literally roll up all of our clothes and stuff them in the tote bag and you're ready to go with your whole wardrobe on your shoulder. So that's sort of, where it all kind of started. It was really my corporate background, and then the acting, which again, when you're acting, you're going off, you're doing different jobs, and to be honest, I'm quite tiny, so a lot of stylists, they struggled sometimes with my size, so I was so used to finding my own clothes and things that worked. So I felt as though I had 20 years of experience of what was my favorite jacket, what was my favorite skirt, and often it was a combination of 3 jackets or 3 skirts, 3 pairs of pants. So I decided one day, how could I develop the perfect black jacket, the perfect skirt, the perfect pair of pants, the perfect halter neck? What was it that worked well with one but didn't work well with another one? So I spent many years. It's not something that just kind of came overnight. I would honestly say this took about 20 years of really sort of... Seriously. Yeah. And it started with a little black dress, which is kind of, Coco Chanel. And I was very inspired by Audrey Hepburn, Breakfast at Tiffany's, that beautiful
I can see that,
black and white photo. And hence our sort of tagline was timeless classics in an ever-changing world, because we are changing constantly, but there are some things that you just cannot beat, and that is the little black dress, the perfect little black jacket, the perfect little black pair of pants. So yeah, it was many years.
The whole idea and vision, because I think you are very brave, to create a fashion brand. That's difficult, I would imagine, of course, but the whole vision?
Yeah, well, I think there's 2 elements here, and it's really interesting because a lot of people have said to me, oh my gosh, do you dare to go into fashion because it's such a tricky time? And I think one of the huge benefits of actually not having any fashion experience is that you come into it completely naive. So you don't have any idea of actually how difficult it is. And that can be a huge advantage because you come into it with different eyes. And I knew that I didn't want to be a seasonal fashion brand. Again, hence our clothes are timeless classics. So I knew that we wouldn't be coming out with 3 or 4 different collections every year. We would have a basic collection and then add on to that. And the vision of CJ London was really that in 20 years' time, the jacket that you've got on, which you look great in, our CJ London jacket could be something that in 20 years you can put this on again, and it's still a favorite in your wardrobe. And we are coming into a very sustainable time where we're very much aware of, especially us women, we do have a lot of clothes and we don't wear them all. We tend to go back to those sort of specific things that we love. So my vision is that hopefully we can start to scale down a little bit and really just mix and match. So you can take your favorite blouse or whatever it is that you have, your favorite dress, and mix and match the jacket. You can mix and match all of the basics. And I really like that vision for myself as well, because I'm definitely guilty of having way too many clothes.
So you also have like a sustainable mission and vision, you can say? Yes,
definitely. I mean, my mission from the start was, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it with the most conscious thinking about everything. I don't just mean the environment, but I do think a lot about the workers. All of our clothes are made in Portugal. I've visited the factories, met these families that run these factories, talked to the workers. That was really, really important to me. And also we have a leather accessory range, which is a vegan leather. And when you come into the whole vegan leather, to start with, I was, what is vegan leather? And there are many people that don't know what it is. And actually, when it comes down to it, there are different types that you can choose. And nowadays you can also, out of pineapple, create some vegan handbags. But there are disadvantages to that. How much can you fit in? Will it break? And going back to vegan leather, it's basically coming down to plastic, which is not environmentally friendly. So how can you have the best recycled polyurethane that's used here, and which countries are working with this, and what's the latest in development? And right now there's some extremely exciting developments going back to plant oils and all sorts of things I could go on about, which I find highly interesting and fascinating.
And how do you get on with all that, with the research or visiting the factories and so on? Can you enlighten us with that?
Well, basically, I mean, with Portugal, I was extremely fortunate. I was put in touch with somebody who had offices there, who's Danish and has offices here too, who'd been working with this his entire life. And I've been very lucky to have a lot of people with great expertise and knowledge where I haven't had that knowledge. And finding out who are the best people to work with, what is the best advice I can get, and research. As you said, research. And as an actor, you're used to that. You're used to, if you're playing a role, if you're playing a part, that's what you do. So if you're going to become a lawyer, you would research as much as possible. And for me, that was talking to as many different fashion companies as I could. The ones that had been successful and the ones that maybe had success but then didn't have success. What were their learnings? What could I learn from them? Because I was well aware of the fact that I needed to take some shortcuts. You know, I haven't been doing, this is not my whole life that I've been doing this. I have a great love for fashion. I have an absolute eye for what works with a woman and what doesn't work. And I knew that one of my primary goals was definitely for all of us women who are completely different heights, sizes, that we could all feel the best version of ourselves. And how could we do that? That's not just about the clothes, that's about the feeling. So if I'm buying something, some women are very interested, where does this come from? And some are not. But for me, it was just like the sort of icing on the cake that I thought about. It comes from Portugal, it's made in Italy, and good people working with this where the employees are treated well.
But creating a brand also means creating a company.
It does.
And how did you manage all that?
Well, that was quite good, because I would say that there my corporate background came in, and I've been working, I have a really unusual background because I started acting when I was 14 and went into working with corporate banking finance when I was 19. So I didn't do what a lot of people might do, and that is travel around the world. So I missed out a little bit there. But what the corporate background did give me was a really good way of understanding how both large companies and startup companies work. And especially on the startup side, I worked for a couple of startup companies where I learned an awful lot. And I had a clear vision of, when I have my own company, this is what I do want to do and this is what I don't want to do. And for me, a key component for finding the right employees for CJ London, it's not actually been about their work experience or whether they have 2 degrees, nothing like that. It's been about, how is this person? Do they fit in with our company values? Do they have a good heart where really truly their intentions are that they want the best for the people that we're working with, that we're providing this for.
Yeah. So what is the feedback from the women when they wear your clothes?
The feedback, I have to say, has been fantastic, and that's where I get my greatest sort of joy and pleasure is that knowing that women love wearing our clothes, they love that they're comfortable. I have women wearing the jacket you've got on saying, this is great, it's just like wearing my tracksuit top because it's so stretchy, and even this dress here, which is our latest dress, you can pop it in the washing machine, you know, it's comfortable, and they feel great. It's funny because especially in this sort of time era zone, strange, challenging year that we've all had, there's been a lot of the Zoom calls as well. So I've had some women saying, it's my go-to Zoom jacket, because maybe they're at home and then suddenly they have a Zoom call and then they literally grab the jacket, pop it on, and that is the difference. Sometimes because you want to look professional, and I am a firm believer in, you know, this thing, whether we like it or not, we should never judge people. However, when you meet somebody, those first 2 minutes, you are creating an impression. So even if you're at home on a Zoom call, then it's great to create a good impression. Still feel relaxed and lovely, but there's something empowering about feeling good about yourself.
Yeah. And what is that, you think?
I think that is, I mean, of course it comes from the inside, but having something on the outside always helps. And I know myself, if I have a day where I wake up and I'm not feeling 100% for whatever reason, I actually go for looking even nicer on the outside, and I feel, I don't know, that kind of cheers up my day a little bit, and actually gives me a better day. So I think that works for a lot of people, definitely.
Yeah. And what are your hopes for women wearing your clothes?
My hopes would be that when women put on something from CJ London, that they feel good about themselves, they feel that it flatters and brings out the best of themselves, and that they can know that with good conscience that we've really thought about where this comes from, and that they just enjoy it, they get pleasure from it, and that we bring a smile to their face.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lotte.